under the constant demands of 3 poor children. The administrator, who was approaching home from work, was soft-hearted, took them on a cable car that wasn't supposed to work. But he had no idea what kind of disaster this seemingly well-intentioned decision would bring to the mountaintop. Today we're going to talk about the 2026 high-altitude secret space thriller, Last Ride. At this time, children jump on the train without listening to advice. But the next second, the cable car suddenly stopped in the air. Tried CPR several times, but it's no use for a dead person. But Alex, who continued to observe, found that the city below was completely devoid of even light at this point. If it's just a power outage, at least there must be movement from the vehicle. He speculated that the sound just now must have been some kind of evacuation alarm.
Evacuation for what? I don't know.
Arvin questioned. Even if there is war, maybe not without destroying the building, but a weapon that only destroys the electrical system. The 3 of them discussed for a long time and still had no clue.
Anybody!
But no one could hear the call for help because it was so far up in the air. And more troublesome, what to do with this administrator's body now? Alex suggested that the administrator's body should be left alone, so as not to get into unnecessary trouble. Arvin said he agreed after listening, but saying the worst outcome makes people think carefully and feel scared. If they are stuck here for a long time, these corpses were likely their only food. Oji got angry after listening.
Not eating Oyvind. A nice guy, but he ain't got it right.
Then everyone started to wait quietly. But there was no rescue movement until dark. The sun sets and the wind howls. The temperature inside the cable car began to drop rapidly. Some people also gradually lose calories. OG searches for what items can be used on the cable car. Only a few glow sticks were found in one box, so that they are not constantly in the dark. But now, they started discussing what was going on. If what Alex said is true, so there is only one possibility. This corpse is the same as in the movie. Turned into a zombie after dying from some kind of radiation. Just as he spoke, Arvin also saw the cloth move.
Swear to God he breathed. We're in Norway.
After OG listened, he took the fire extinguisher. Leave it to Arvin. Let the calmest one come forward to check. Arvin could only walk in fear when he saw this. Arvin, who was observing closely, was still quite scared. This time his bladder couldn't hold out any longer. Quickly opened the door and released it through the gap. Even though the wind outside made him pee all over his body, but it's better than peeing directly in the airtight gondola. And the incoming wind also calmed him down again. They began to wonder why there had been no rescue, and considering if it continues like this, they must start saving themselves before they fall into the cold. OG analyzes whether their clothes can be tied up and down. Arvin immediately denied it after hearing it, at least 50 or 60 meters above the ground. Their lights are out right now.
Okay, which moron thought it was a good idea to light all the glow sticks at once?
Look, there are only 2 left in the box, and they don't want to care about that. As time gradually comes night, the temperature is also getting lower. Thin clothes can't keep out the cold at all. They had to remove clothes from the corpse to keep it warm. And they quickly divided the clothes, only to find out that the administrator had other supplies available in his pocket. What OG found was a drinking jug. The 3 of them quickly took a sip to ward off the cold. Arvin found a wallet, cigarettes, and a lighter. Dan Alex hanya menemukan satu belati. While they were discussing whether these objects could be used, they saw a rare aurora suddenly appear in the sky. Although some people also doubt whether the incident was caused by a laser. But even though it will affect power communication, but not to the point of being damaged. And the blackout happened before that. Witnessing the increasingly bizarre situation, Arvin realized that he had to quickly save himself. They hurriedly lowered the ladder from the roof of the cable car, then quickly climb up, then push off the top cover. Trying to see if there is any way to save myself here. But with despair, besides being able to watch the laser with a better view against the cold wind. No other effects, and silence is the best way at this time. The calories in the body that are not many are lost again. They can only try hard to maintain body temperature. The scary thing is, when one of them woke up, found brown paper on the ground. Apparently someone stole it and ate it. But no one admits that the person is himself. And that's it. They also had no intention of arguing. The cold air has now spread throughout the body. They could only light a fire using paper money to keep warm. But the warmth is only momentary. Not long after, the flame that was keeping them alive went out. Luckily, it suddenly occurred to them that this cable car was a temporary home. Plus, everything has a blackout them that this cable car was a temporary home. Their families will forget them, and no one will look up at the sky. But if there is something visible on the ground, so there is a possibility that someone will know when people around are on patrol, and their plans is to throw the administrator's body down. Some people opened the cable car doors with force. A powerful wind poured out in an instant. They quickly pushed the body down and quickly covered it. They can only surrender and pray. Unexpectedly, this move really brought about a turning point. Soon they saw a beacon of light. Several people quickly opened the door and looked down. Sure enough, they found people gesturing. The three of them hurriedly called out excitedly. And because the distance is too far, both parties can only communicate by shouting,
How are you gonna get us down? When can you get us down?
But when they shouted, Arvin suddenly heard a strange sound near him. It turned out to be a previous prevention and control alarm, plus their screams just now. The fragile snow on the mountaintop has completely collapsed. The people below were immediately submerged by the avalanche. But at this time, Arvin still hasn't given up.
Look at them.
I'm not. Just wondering how deep the snow is.
It was because of an avalanche. It's covered in snow. Arvin's plan is to take the opportunity to jump.
If the snow is really soft right now, then it'll be like a 20-foot deep pillow. The snow could freeze over and be a sheet of ice.
But because words are too risky, nobody dared to jump. In the end, they decided to play rock, paper, scissors to choose the executioner. If successful, seek rescue. If it fails, the risk can be very fatal. In the end, Alex lost. It is impossible to admit defeat. He could only open the door in horror. But the next second, a strong wind hit him and made him faint. Seeing that Alex can no longer carry out the plan, Arvin, who didn't want to sit still, decided to jump. He gathered the courage to walk to the door. It will happen soon, decades later. Some of the people who were rescued came back here. The updated cable car is more advanced. This time they managed to reach the top of the mountain without any obstacles. Bury the administrator's stuff here, remembering that unforgettable childhood nightmare. But now, Alex suddenly saw a tattoo on his colleague's arm. And that's why the disaster happened. It coincidentally lined up on the same side. And because of the interaction of attraction, the Earth also produced a powerful magnetic storm that day. This is also the cause of damage to all electronic equipment. But at this moment, Alex suddenly felt something was wrong. It was only because of that nightmare experience that made him suffer from severe psychological trauma. He swore he would never return to this sad place. The next second, a strong inner guidance made him finally realize.
He's back.
It turns out that everything just now was just a fantasy when he was in a coma. 9 stars was just an article he had read before. The strong desire to know the truth leads him to turn it into a disaster in his dreams. Arvin stayed by his side and shivered. He has absolutely no courage to sacrifice for his friends. And what's even more desperate, he found that his body was completely frozen at this time. He couldn't do it even if he remembered. 3 people can only curl up and die peacefully. It was the second day when the cable car was finally brought back to life. The cable car that had been in the sky overnight was covered in frost. The rescue team quickly opened the door. It turns out that OG and Alex are dead. Unnatural fuchsia plaque on the face. And Arvin still has a faint breath left. It turns out that when he first started digging and dividing clothes, he took the thickest coat.
Give me that.
It's mine.
It's mine.
Get off.
Fuck off.
Let go.
Give me that.
Come on.
And the last energy chocolate was also stolen by Arvin. From start to finish, he was in the strongest position. Tested. Also through their interactions and choices, including selfishness and vulnerability of human nature in extreme circumstances. In a desperate situation, both physically and psychologically, complete cold deduction of the dark side of human nature,